Select one, pause, and pay attention. This is no coincidence. Heaven has stopped you in your tracks to say, the right door will open. You are here, and you don't have to worry. You have experienced closed-door seasons. Interviews for jobs that were never followed up on. Relationships that ended sooner than you had anticipated. Opportunities that slipped away, yet seemed to be within grasp. Why me? Why always here waiting? You asked yourself every time. It seemed like rejection was really heavenly rerouting. You have been shielded from dead-end doors by God. Imagine a skilled artisan working with precious metal. He despises it, allows the contaminants to ascend before repeatedly refining it from the outside. It seems to be devastation. In actuality, however, it is a prelude to genius. That gold is you. You are not being punished by the flames you have experienced. You are being shaped for the location solely by refining. You're able to fill. I recall hearing about a lady who had a mission to aid kids. She contacted organizations, submitted proposals, and applied for jobs. But nothing was able to open. She felt invisible as the years went by. However, as she waited, she developed compassion, insight, and a stronger faith. Then all of a sudden, she received an offer from a new foundation that put her in control of a whole program, rather than from the places she had previously pursued. What seemed like years of squandered time turned into the preparation ground for her fate. In your life, the same invisible preparation is taking place. Consider an oak door that has been carved. It seems hefty and immobile. However, it swings open effortlessly when the key is inserted. You don't have to smash through doors that aren't for you. The master is handing you the key. That's all you need. Versina, in accordance with what is disclosed in Proverbs 16, verse 16. Humans plot their way in their hearts, but the Lord determines their steps. Does the weight of the reality weigh on you? You might make plans. You could have a dream. You could even believe that time has passed. However, the person in possession of the design is determining each stride, turn, and pause. This implies that the door that was intended for you cannot be missed. It'll open by divine alignment, not by chance. So, cheer yourself up. Waiting is not something to hate. Don't curse the corridor. Your corridor is a hallowed space. That's where God gives you your tools. Here, He eliminates distractions and ensures that you will be able to identify the correct door when it opens. Allow your answer to reflect whatever feelings these words may be arousing in you. Please spread the word so that another person in need might find courage. And sign up to stay up to date on upcoming life phrases. Additionally, put 111 in the comment section below as a prophetic act of faith. You are proclaiming that the Lord is establishing my steps and that the correct door is opening for me when you do this. And selected one. Take a deep breath. You're not in the rear. We don't forget you. Your story's creator hasn't abandoned the work. In actuality, the chapters you believed were unnecessary served as pillars. You see, God does not reject you when He shuts a door. You are being aligned by Him. In order for your eyes to see the larger, He sometimes has to obscure your vision of the little things. It's not a kind of discipline. It serves as defense. Imagine a shepherd leading his flock. The gate could seem small. There are verdant meadows beyond the uncertain road. You cannot see what the shepherd sees. Thus, have faith in the hand that guides you. Your faith is not little because you struggle with uncertainty even when the path seems difficult. The struggle builds faith. Your faith has been cultivated by every tear, every query, and every sleepless night. You underestimate how close you are. And believe me when I say that the opening door is not delicate. At the initial push of resistance, it won't swing shut. No man can close when God opens. This is not a short-term opportunity. The position is permanent. So have bravery. Don't be afraid of things you can't control. You have an easy assignment. Remain loyal. Continue to move. Have faith in the time. The person who calls you is trustworthy and will fulfill his commitment. Now stop. What doors have I been attempting to force, you ask? How would it feel to let go and let God choose my course? Allow this message to spread if it strikes a deep chord. Type 111 as your proclamation and like, share, and subscribe so that others may accompany you on your trip. My steps are being established by the Lord. First end, Selected one. Let's take a closer look. You've encountered a lot of closed doors. With hope, you knocked, and you eagerly awaited it. But there was stillness. You put a lot of effort and even tears in seemingly good chances just to see them pass you by. Isn't there a scar from such moments? Whispered queries and silent wounds of bewilderment. Why not me, God? But listen clearly. The doors that closed on you weren't a failure. They served as shields. They were heaven's method of keeping you safe from locations that would have sapped your spirit, but looked nice. The enigma of divine rejection exists. Often, what seems to be loss is really mercy. Imagine Jonah aboard the ship that is headed to Tarshish. God had a purpose, but he had a plan. The storm was there to reroute him, not to destroy him. After chasing doors that weren't intended for you, you too had experienced storms. It seemed like rejection at the moment. It was, in fact, rectification. God is guiding you back toward your actual purpose. Think about another image. A garden gate that is locked. From the outside, it seems like you're being excluded from something lovely. But what if the dirt had already turned to dust on the other side of that barred gate? The water had dried up and the fruit had gone bad. Up close, what was beautiful from a distance was nothing but rot. God kept you alive by closing the gate. I recall a young professional who aspired to work for a large corporation. She applied, prayed, and progressed through each step until the door abruptly closed at the last interview. She cried, heartbroken. She learned years later that the corporation itself had fallen victim to corruption, leaving its workers devastated and impoverished. Her greatest deliverance turned out to be what had previously seemed like her worst letdown. Her account is similar to yours. Holy interventions are the closed doors. You are not being punished, chosen one. They're protecting you. There is a significant distinction. The goal of punishment is to injure. Preservation is the goal of protection. Your dad is aware of the risks you are blind to, the pitfalls concealed underneath what seem to be excellent chances. He blocks you out of compassion because you are valuable, not because you are undeserving. Imagine a parent seeing a youngster grab for something dangerous. When the thing is taken away, the youngster may cry, but the parent is aware of this. Allowing damage to happen is more painful than the child's cries. Likewise, your father's no conveys his empathy. He closed doors with affection each time. This reality is confirmed by the knowledge of Scripture in Psalms 37 verses 23 to 37. The Lord directs a good man's feet, and he enjoys following his path. And you may still feel the pain of those losses today. Allow the healing process to envelop you. You were never left behind during those times. Heaven was actively protecting your fate. You were never intended to move on from what was stolen from you. You would have been shattered by it. Don't allow resentment from previous rejections to fester inside of you. Consider them heavenly diversions instead. There has been no delay on your journey. It's been improved. The doors that shut behind you merely made sure that you would be prepared to enter the next one without hesitation, fear, or restraint. Raise your head. A closed door does not indicate a failure. They are proof of favor. To be kept is to be selected, even in opposition to your own wishes. The day will come when you will look back, grin through the recollection, and say, now I see, now I understand why it had to be that way. But you may not understand at the time. So forward with bravery. Every door that is closed is a living testament. The corridors you have been through will soon serve as proof of God's influence in your life. Have faith. Have faith. Live it. Because you're not just idly walking. They're leading you. And never forget to choose one. The hand that opens is the same hand that shuts. The sole reason for what seemed like a delay was God making sure your next season wouldn't fall apart due to unjustified pressure. You're being ready, and advancement always follows preparedness. Thus, maintain your resolve. The corridor you have been traversing is not deserted. It's sacred territory. Every action you perform has a purpose, and every door that has been shut behind you is evidence that God's plan for your future is still safe. Your name is inscribed on the correct door, which is already waiting for you if you look ahead. Let's examine the secret gift of waiting, chosen one. The globe is racing forward, pursuing every available opportunity. You are to remain still. There has been no time wasted. Holy time has been in effect. Roots are growing in the quiet. Your spirit is growing stronger in the silence that others cannot perceive. After bamboo is planted, consider it for years to come. Nothing seems to occur. No green sprouts emerge despite farmers watering it and caring for the soil. Then, in only a few weeks, after years of covert development, it abruptly soars to a height of meters. The key? In order to support the quick growth, the roots had been becoming stronger and deeper. Your waiting has accomplished that for you. It's possible that you've envied others who appear to advance effortlessly. However, not all doors lead to fate. Some doors are quick to open, but as quick to close. You were selected to go through the more involved procedure. You were selected to provide an unshakable foundation. While others progressed, I once heard of a guy who yearned for recognition. They didn't see him. He said a prayer. He did his duty. He donated. But he felt invisible year after year. It wasn't until his time arrived that he realized God was molding his heart to be humble. It was not pride that carried weight, but his impact. He had been cleansed by his hidden season. You may recognize that narrative since you have also been shaped by your hidden season. In the second book, chapter 4, verse 17 of his epistle to the Corinthians, the apostle reminds us, because our fleeting sorrows and lightness are leading to an everlasting grandeur that surpasses all of them. Do you see it? I ask. What do you mean by trouble? Training is what heaven calls. That's what you call a delay. Design is heaven. This brilliance will be unveiled throughout your designated time on earth, as well as in eternity. You won't keep your brightness buried. This is your moment of prophecy. In the comments, type "no more fear." Why this particular phrase? For it is faith that makes waiting holy and fear that makes it burdensome. Declaring it invites confidence into your next chapter and drives fear out of your corridor. It is more than a single phrase. It's a change in your soul. So, keep your head up. The hidden is ready to reveal itself. It's not a jail in the hallway. It's a womb, and the birthing period is almost here. Waiting often seems like a corridor with an infinite number of closed doors. You try each handle by pacing back and forth, but you encounter resistance. However, those that are selected discover that not all shut doors signify rejection. Sometimes, God is protecting you from things that seem promise but might endanger you. This viewpoint alters your perception of delay. It is now a gift rather than a punishment. Consider the formation process of pearls. They start off as annoyances, sand particles stuck within a shell. The pain is unavoidable for the oyster. Thus, layers of protection are applied to the sand. What was once terrible eventually turns into a treasure. In a similar vein, God's grace is covering your annoyances and disappointments as you wait. They will soon glow as a testament. God is working on a big, secret project inside of you. It's a calculated move. He is molding your heart so that you may pass through the appropriate door fearlessly, without resentment, and without conceit. Many people barge into rooms they're not ready for, but you are being prepared to bear the burden of your calling. You can't compare your trip to anybody else's because of this. Even if someone seems ahead of you, their pace is not your norm. Obedience is your yardstick. Heaven's design is your timeline. For this reason, you have to fight the urge to push anything that isn't ready yet. Forced doors give way. God's door on. Therefore, I urge you once again to make a powerful declaration in your spirit. Fear no more. This term is not used casually. In the sand, a line has been drawn. Faith responds, fear replies. You are forgotten. I'm getting ready. Faith responds to fear. Everyone else is ahead. I've got my steps straight. This statement changes the climate inside you, causing bravery to take the place of fear. Selected one. The waiting womb is almost full term. You will not stay here forever. God's schedule already shows the correct entrance, and the years of concealment will make sense once it swings wide. You'll see that the quiet wasn't meaningless. It was a selected, holy one. The others are not like you. Your life has a different weight than others, who may jump into any chance and follow whatever road is accessible to them. Only you can follow the path that has been marked for you. For this reason, doors that open wide for others stay closed for you. It is differentiation from the start, not rejection. God has always chosen people for his purposes and kept them apart. Consider Caleb and Joshua as spies. 10 gave in to dread after glancing at the giants. However, Joshua and Caleb had distinct perspectives since they were different, and even though they both saw the same country, they said, "We are able." Most observed obstacles. Destiny was seen by the selected. Those are the same eyes you have been asked of you. Being selected is more than just being gifted. It must be appointed. Additionally, deference necessitates refining. Your route seems longer than most because of this. Friendships fade. Your path seems slower, and opportunities seem limited. However, this is not God's absence. It is God's hand that is precisely molding you. Consider the shaping of an instrument by a violin craftsman. He doesn't produce in large quantities. He takes great care in his crafting, adjusting, bending, and carving. Every stroke is deliberate. Every pause is required. The violin sound has depth and purity when it is fully played. God is working on you in that way. You're not a replica. You are a unique work of art. The prophet Haggai's writings. Chapter 2. For you, verse 9 has a whisper. The magnificence of the current home will surpass that of the previous one. The Lord Almighty states, and I will grant peace in this place. These phrases serve as a reminder that your history will not repeat itself in the future. The greatest is yet to come. The future lies ahead. Heaven has already counted you in, even if others have not. You are on a road that leads to a grandeur beyond your previous experience. On the brink of a stormy shore, imagine a lighthouse standing by itself. It is remote and often beaten by seas and winds, but remains unwavering. Why? Because the rock is where it is fastened. Its function is to illuminate ships in the dark, not to blend in with the beach. That lighthouse is the one you selected. Your task is to separate. Your power is in your uniqueness. This fact explains why you feel suffocated in situations where others flourish. It has nothing to do with your weakness. The reason for this is because your spirit is not a part of that environment. Darkness was never intended for you. It was supposed to be interrupted by you. Heaven's alarm, which reminds you that you are different from them, is the irritation you experience while attempting to fit in. I own you. We can see how isolation may lead to strength even in the Bible. Joseph was wrongfully imprisoned, sold into slavery, and taken from his family. He led an unjust life for years, one that was full of rejection and treachery. He was, nevertheless, in a position to stand before Pharaoh and rescue countries because of that very division. He would never have been able to start his task without being set apart. The same is true for you. The doors that were left open for others would have been simple to open, but if you had gone through them, your fate would have been undermined. Only your key will open the particular gateway that God has set aside, and you are being cultivated to be able to detect it till that time. Keep your differences intact. Don't lament your solitude. These indicate that you're following people who have been designated for greater things. You're not like the others. You cannot be replaced. You have been selected, and the proof of your calling is your separation. Remember this fact. Being unique does not equate to disadvantage. It must be differentiated, and the distinction that once seemed burdensome will eventually become your crown. While others show off their work, your crown is being constructed in secret rather than in public. The secret location is where yours is being weaved, and it won't be delicate when it shows up. It shall be burdened with the authority of heaven. Selected one, your destiny is marked by the same things that made you feel out of place. You weren't made to fit in with the throng. You were made to shine brightly in the darkness, helping others who are yet blind. Rest your heart, then. Comparing or competing is not necessary. You are divinely different. You're moving at the ideal rate. Additionally, the correct door will open at the scheduled time. Selected one, you have to understand something. The darkness is terrified by your brightness. You may not even be aware of how much your presence matters. The mood changes as soon as you enter a room. Your words have greater power than human intellect. Therefore, even if you speak gently, the opponent will shudder. They are endowed with heavenly power. Darkness has attempted to shut doors on you. You are dangerous. Dangerous to fear, dangerous to despair, and dangerous to the myths that bind people. not because you are weak. The enemy's intentions are disrupted by your sheer presence. Attacks have seemed so personal because of this. You have been followed by rejection, isolation, and delay because of this. But realize that resistance has its uses. Nobody would make such a concerted effort to stop you if you were not carrying anything valuable. Imagine a treasure trove hidden under the ocean. It is not protected by soft waves. It is encircled by shipwrecks and concealed behind storms. Because the contents are precious. That prizes you. What heaven put inside you is shown by the storms that are pelting you. And God is lifting you up so that your light won't remain buried, just as divers go to tremendous depths to retrieve what is concealed. The prophet Nahum's writings. Verse 7 of chapter 1. Here, provide comfort. The Lord is kind and a haven when things become tough. Those that trust him are important to him. Your shelter has always been in him, and your confidence has sustained you through the storm. That's why your spark hasn't extinguished in spite of the difficulties. You're still here, still paying attention, still believing. You are thus unstoppable. Now, selected one, I have to be honest with your heart. Think about how you may contribute to keeping this light glowing for others if this message has flowed into you, uplifting your soul and reminding you of your value. Your support, whether in the form of a like, share, subscription, or even a gift, becomes the oil that keeps this flame blazing brightly, just as oil lights a lamp. Consider it this way. During a hurricane, a lighthouse remains sturdy, but its fire has to be tended. Ships would be lost at sea, and its light would dim without oil. Similarly, this area serves as a lighthouse that gives hope to innumerable hearts who are lost in the dark. By being generous in whatever way you feel prompted, you are putting oil on the fire and making sure that the light keeps reaching the people who need it the most. This isn't a must. This isn't a must. You're being invited to take part in something greater than yourself. No matter how big or little, every gift becomes a seed. And when seeds are in God's hands, they grow far more than we can perceive. Even the tiniest candle may light one after another until a whole room is illuminated, even if your seed is little. But let me clarify, whether you contribute or not, you are loved. Whether you give or not, you are appreciated. You cannot buy God's word for your life. It is offered freely. However, be aware of this if your heart is agitated or if you feel a soft tug within. It's not simply words that sustain you. Souls are being sustained by it. Therefore, I really beg that you let me know if you feel moved to donate. Pray if you're unable to. Share if you're able to. And most importantly, keep your heart open. The selected live like this. They give out of love, not out of obligation. Thus, choose one and let your light shine. And may all that you do, whether it's spreading this message like a thread into the soil of another soul, subscribing like a root buried deeper in a living stream, liking like a single spark that joins countless others to form a flame, or giving like oil into a holy lamp, be another affirmation that the darkness has already vanished. Never forget that there is never any pressure. It's an invitation, like a river that freely runs to irrigate a valley. Only when your heart is stirred will you provide help. Whether you pray, contribute, or share, everything counts. In order to help those who are lost in the storm find their way home, every action keeps this lighthouse blazing. Selected one, you're not supposed to travel this path alone. Each light you extinguish combines with others to create a hopeful night sky. The spark that leads someone else home can be something that seems little to you. Thus, go with calm in your heart. God's hand has weaved a living narrative around you. Every act of kindness and every seed of love becomes everlasting and selected in that tale. Even if you may not see it yet, a chapter ends and the seasons change. In front of you, a new gateway is emerging. It doesn't make noise or make announcements. It often rises silently, like to the sunrise piercing the night sky. It was never in vain that you went through the season you did, the stillness, the testing, and the crushing weight. You're on the brink of something novel, and there's a sense of sacred expectation in the air. It is comparable to how the seasons change in the natural world. Winter won't last forever. There's always spring. New life is stirring deep beneath the earth, regardless of how cold or lifeless the ground may seem. It's the same with you. The cold of waiting has not broken your soul. However, the seeds that God sowed many years ago are now being reawakened by the warmth of his time. I think of the tale of a guy who toiled diligently for years in obscurity. He worked without praise or acknowledgement. Then, one day, a simple chat revealed a door that had been concealed the whole time. His life was turned upside down by that one chance. The season was chosen by God, not because he made it happen. You too are on the verge of such an occasion. The Epistle of James 1 verse 12 is where God's message is revealed. The person who endures hardship is blessed because, after overcoming the test, they will be granted the crown of life that the Lord promised to those who love him. Perseverance is also not a waste. In paradise, every test is recorded. Your fate has been irrigated by each cry. A season of satisfaction and a crown of life are now ready for you. You won't stay in one place. The doorway's authenticity is confirmed by the crown. However, there's often a fake door before every real one. Imitations are a favorite tactic of the adversary. Shiny doors that merely serve as a distraction. For this reason, discretion is essential. Not every open area is an invitation. Ask yourself, does this door carry peace or does it carry anxiety? A few are traps. Imagine a corridor with several doors. Some are hollow on the inside, but painted gold. Some lead simply to walls, but they seem solid. The room of your calling is only one door away. When you stand before it, you'll be able to identify it by the calm that emanates rather than by its brilliance. Selected one. Now is the time to get your heart ready. Don't worry about missing it. Nothing that is yours can be stolen by someone else. No man can close what God has opened. It is your responsibility to remain devoted, to keep your candle blazing, and to remain perceptive to his whisper. Enter 444 in the comment section now as a prophecy. Why 444? Because it talks about alignment, your actions aligning with the timetable of heaven, similar to how a solid foundation is formed by four corners. This figure indicates that you're living a stable existence. You are implying that I favor God's door above my own by writing it. I don't hurry. I select his moment. There's more to this than just words. It's alignment. It proves your readiness to the invisible world as well as to yourself. Demons shudder at religion, and angels react to it. Your remark becomes as a banner. I line up with the correct door as I go. So have bravery. The previous season is over. In front of you is the doorway. You will soon enter a chamber that will make every tear, every holdup, and every night of uncertainty worthwhile, even if it may seem silent right now. Remain calm. Remain vigilant. Additionally, be aware that the right door will open and not shut again. By writing 444, you are announcing that your life is based on foundation rather than sand. In and of itself, the number 4 stands for stability. The 4 walls of a home, the 4 corners of the earth, and the 4 winds. You cement this fact by saying it 3 times. Your body, soul, and spirit are all in harmony with your steps. It is not superstition to do this. It serves as a foreboding warning to remain unfazed by impending storms. Because God's plan is the foundation of your destiny, you will remain stable. Knowing that you're on a route that will not collapse, type it with certainty. Selected 1. Every time you see this number, allow it to remain a seal in your soul. Keep in mind that your existence is in harmony with heaven's orderly plan rather than with chaos. And proceed with confidence as you go. You're not headed toward chaos. You're stepping on solid ground. Nothing can destroy the proper door that is in front of you. Selected 1. You must comprehend a certain aspect of the enemy's strategy. He tries a different tactic, diversion, after realizing he cannot stop the actual door from opening. He presents you with prospects that are hollow on the inside, but seem to be brilliant on the surface. He wants to delay you, deplete you, and force you to settle for less than what heaven has prepared, not to bless you. Imagine a bridge across a deep river that is composed of ice. It seems substantial from a distance, glistening in the sunshine and beckoning you to approach. However, if you take one incorrect step, the surface will shatter and you'll be submerged in icy water. That's how fake doors operate. Despite their seeming stability, they're designed to fail the instant you put your confidence in them. We are often cautioned about discernment in the scriptures. Israel was tempted to go back to Egypt, even in the desert when they were hungry. Slavery with full bellies was preferable to freedom with starvation, the opponent said. But those murmurs were falsehoods. Rejecting the commitment would have meant going back to Egypt. Counterfeit doors never point ahead. They always point backward. There was a young leader I knew who yearned for power. He was thrilled to get an unexpected invitation to join a group of influential individuals. But his heart was restless in prayer. The air was one of compromise and pride. Before the silence, he almost said yes. Years later, he learned that the same individuals had fallen into scandal and disaster, while a little voice within murmured, "This is not your door." His fate would have fallen along with theirs if he had entered through that door. He was rescued by his control. Selected one. Similar exams will be given to you. The fake door might seem as a sign of familiarity, comfort, or even urgency. It could evoke strong feelings in you and force you to make a quick decision. Heaven's doors, however, are not like that. They provide tranquility. In uns at tiny too, they may not be ostentatious, but they are in line with your vocation. Think about another picture. A hole in a key. The correct key slides in effortlessly. It opens easily, spins smoothly, and slips in. Despite having a similar appearance, a counterfeit key grinds, scrapes, and won't turn when inserted into the lock. Take a step back if you feel yourself compromising, straining, or pushing things to work. Probably it's not your door. In chapter 14, the prophet Hosea issued a sharp warning. Chapter 9, the ways of the Lord are right. The righteous walk in them, but the rebellious stumble in them. When you hear it, the right path is always aligned with God's ways. Counterfeit doors require compromise. True doors require obedience. One leads to stumbling, the other to steady steps. You may be wondering, how will I know? How can I distinguish between a real and a fake door? Look at the fruit. True doors draw you closer to God, deepen your character, and strengthen your faith. False doors demand you compromise your values, silence your conscience, or sacrifice your peace. The true door will never require you to abandon who you are in him. Think of Joseph once more. When Piper's wife opened a counterfeit door, it promised pleasure but carried destruction. Joseph chose to flee rather than enter, and though it cost him prison, it preserved his destiny. Sometimes saying no to the wrong door is the greatest act of faith because it proves you are willing to wait for what is real. So take heart. Counterfeits are not a sign of abandonment. They're a sign you are close. The enemy does not waste decoys on those going nowhere. If counterfeit doors are showing up, it is evidence that the true door is near. You only need patience, prayer, and the courage to walk away from what glitters but does not carry God's glow. Your journey requires wisdom. Not all delays are denials, and not all openings are invitations. Heaven has reserved a specific doorway for you, one that no counterfeit can replicate. Wait for it, discern carefully, and when you see it, you will know it will carry peace like a river, strength like a rock, and clarity like the morning sun. Chosen one, when the true door appears, it will not compete with your peace. It will not require you to trade your integrity for access. Instead, it will feel like a gentle hand turning the key at just the right time. You will know because your spirit will rest, not strive. So guard your heart. Do not chase what glitters. Wait for what is grounded in God's promise. For when heaven opens a way, it will not collapse beneath your feet. It will carry you further than you ever imagined. Chosen one, the hardest lesson for those set apart is this. God's timing cannot be rushed. You may see the vision clearly. You may feel the urgency in your heart. Yet, heaven does not move according to your clock. The one who holds eternity in his hand is never late, though he rarely seems early. Think of Abraham waiting for the promise of Isaac. The years stretched longer than he imagined, and the silence of God weighed heavy. At times, he tried to force the promise into his own hands, as when Ishmael was born through human effort. Yet even then God did not abandon him. He waited patiently until the fullness of time, then brought forth Isaac, the true heir of the promise. This story whispers to you, delay is not denial. It is the womb of destiny in your life. You may have attempted to speed things up at times, believing that I can make this happen if I just push harder. However, human pressure cannot unlock the portals of heaven. By divine alignment, they open. Additionally, you run the chance of entering a door that isn't ready for you if you hurry. For this reason, God often keeps you motionless while molding your heart until the appropriate time comes. In his epistle to the Romans, the Apostle Paul wrote clearly in verse 25 of chapter 8, "However, we wait patiently for something we do not yet have if we hope for it." Class is over. In the kingdom of God, patience is not passive. Active trust is what it is. When nothing appears to move, it's standing on your faith. It is deciding to trust in the invisible rather than clinging to shadows. That's what makes you unique. While others rush, you wait with your eyes up, believing that the one who made the promise would keep it. Think of a fruit tree in the springtime. You can really taste the sweetness that will soon be there in the fragrant blooms. However, if you pick the fruit too soon, it will be unformed, bitter, and unable to provide you with nourishment. It can only be fully ripened by time, sunshine, and rain. The pledges you have made throughout your life are also developing. They would lose their sweetness if hurried. To wait is to fully accept them. One guy I met had a desire of becoming a leader. He was passionate, charismatic, and visionary. He was impatient, however. For a while, he stood where he yearned to be, pushing doors open with his own might. However, he was crushed by the weight of duty since his roots were shallow. He didn't enter his calling with enduring power until he had retreated into obscurity and allowed God to reconstruct him.